I have a notification from Soap Does Nails. Yay. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I don't know if you guys can tell or not. I'm having a hard time telling myself, but I have two different brands on my face. One side of my face is E.l.f. and the other side is Wet n Wild. And I kind of want to know, like, which side do you guys think looks better? I mean, I feel like I did a pretty good job at, like, duping everything, so I feel like they both look pretty similar. I thought it would be a bit of fun to compare two of my absolute favorite drugstore brands. I'm not really trying to figure out which one is, like, better because they're both really good and really affordable, but one of them is actually a bit more expensive than the other, and I was a little shocked myself, but I kind of want to see which drugstore really is worth your money, because if you were to buy all these products, it would still be, you know, a little chunk of change, and I always worry myself about buying drugstore products because I always feel like, you know, even if it's a couple bucks, what if the product's terrible and I only use it once? Then it was still a couple bucks wasted. So I thought it'd be fun to put two of my favorite brands, you know, head to head and see which one is better. I'm really curious to see which one you guys think is going to win and which one you guys think on the side of my face, which one looks better. I don't know if you could even tell a difference because honestly I could go out in public and no one would know. If you've already guessed which side is which, I'm now going to reveal which side is which. My right side is E.l.f. and my left is Wet n Wild. So the first product we're going to talk about is foundation. I'm not only going to be talking about like how they look on my face, but also how they perform on my face, how their formula is, and packaging as well. So two foundations that I have used time and time again. One of them is a little bit newer to me than the other, but I have used both of them many times. And for those of you that know, I have dry skin and a bit of redness, and those are my concerns usually. I was honestly shocked when I put these side by side on my face and applied one and then the other to find that they looked very similar on my face, but they felt very different. The E.l.f. one has a natural finish, although it does kind of look a little bit more matte. It does not feel matte on my face at all. So I think for dry skin, this one is a very good one. It is a thick formula, but I feel like it looks so much more like skin and it feels so lightweight on your skin. Packaging is a glass bottle with a plastic lid, just like the Wet n Wild, but it has a pump. And I also love that it has a pump. I feel like it is a pump that I have a lot of control over. The Wet n Wild foundation is a great shade match for me. I have it in the shade Porcelain. It's a very good shade match. It's a really good foundation, just not for me. I feel like it usually clings to my dry patches. I can really feel it on my face more than the E.l.f. one, and I'm not a fan. Again, glass bottle, plastic lid, but it has a little spatula instead. And honestly, I'm not the biggest fan. There's a hair. There's always hairs. I'm not so much a fan of the spatula because it's like wiping the product on my face, and I feel like sometimes I get too much, sometimes I get too little. It's hard to control how much gets on the spatula, and also I'm just like wiping it on my face, and that feels kind of gross. So for foundation, I am obviously going to give it to E.l.f. This is one of my favorite foundations of all time, and if you have dry skin like me, I definitely feel like this is a winner. Next up, we have bronzers. Okay, so this packaging is broken. I just want to tell you that. I picked the Primer Infused bronzer in the shade Forever Sunkissed. And it looks like this. I like this bronzer. It is a matte bronzer, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but it has a very like creamy formula even though it's a powder. But I feel like it is so pigmented, it's almost like too pigmented. And then when you try and blend it out, it almost, I don't know, it's not my favorite, but I do really, really like it. But I do absolutely love E.l.f.'s packaging. It's just plastic, but I feel like it looks so simple, and it's like, it's easy to tell what it is. You know, it's not too cluttered or anything. Then we come to Wet n Wild, whose packaging I always think is a little too cluttered with words and all kinds of stickers and stuff. This is the Wet n Wild Color Icon Bronze Dynasty. This is limited edition. I believe it's still on their website, but it is limited edition bronzer. It came with the Fire and Ice collection. You can tell it is quite a bit darker, and I do think when I put these side by side, I do think that the Wet n Wild one is actually a little too dark for me, but it's so shimmery and nice that I really, really like it, and I don't really care if it's, you know, too dark for me. I just prefer this bronzer overall. Wet n Wild wins the bronzer competition. It's such a nice formula and it's very creamy for being a powder. Like, I just don't feel like it's too powdery at all. But it has this beautiful sheen to it that the E.l.f. one does not have. And honestly, I feel like the E.l.f. one is a little too orange for me as well. It's a beautiful bronzer. It's a little deeper and it has this gorgeous like golden sheen in it. So next up we have blush. With E.l.f. I have the Always Cheeky Primer Infused Blush, and Wet n Wild I have the Color Icon Mellow Wine Blush. I guess they're just Color Icon. Starting with the E.l.f. It's a beautiful color. Definitely. I like to say it has the same formula as the bronzer, but really this one just seems like nothing special to me, like at all. And I'm sorry if that's, you know, a little mean. It just doesn't, it's not anything special. The color is beautiful, but the blush itself is just kind of eh. But again, I absolutely love the simple packaging. Wet n Wild, again, very cheap looking and very covered in stickers and busy and cheap. I know these are not the same color. These are probably the most different things that I have. But the Wet n Wild one is a little deep, but this is the blush I used to use all the time. And it looks like that. They're both matte blushes, but the Wet n Wild one, though the formula is a little bit more powdery, I just really feel like Wet n Wild does blushes well. I used to wear this blush all the time, and though I prefer the color of the E.l.f. one versus this one, because I never wear this. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I never wear this anymore, but the formula is really nice. It is very pigmented, if you guys can tell, like this versus this. That's probably the thing that looks the most different is my cheeks. It's very pigmented, a little too pigmented maybe, but they came out with new shades and they have a couple like peachy shades, and I'd really like to get those because I'd probably wear those all the time. And these blushes are so affordable and they're amazing. These are affordable too, but this is just really nothing special. I feel like Wet n Wild does the colors right, they do the formula right on blushes, they just know what they're doing when it comes to blushes. So Wet n Wild wins the blush round. Next up we have highlighters. Now, okay, this one is a tough one for me, really, because these highlighters are different colors. The Wet n Wild one is a little more pink, and this one's a little bit more champagne, but I'm going to go more on formula and how they look on my face for this one. So starting with the E.l.f., I have the E.l.f. Baked Highlighter in Moonlight Pearls. Packaging, super cheap. I'm not a fan of this one. This is like their old packaging. It's super cheap and flimsy, and it feels really cheap. But the formula of this is amazing. Once you get the first layer off of it, which I do recommend with these products, like take the first layer off, you know, just like rub your finger on it and get that first layer off. This is a stunning highlight for, you know, those of you with fair to probably medium skin. You can probably still pull this off. It's very wet looking on the face. It just blends so smoothly into the skin and it just looks wet. And I love that wet, dewy look so much. Packaging is better on this one, I'm just gonna say, because this one just doesn't feel as cheap. I know it's the same packaging as all the other ones. I do think they should get rid of all these ridiculous stickers on them, but it just doesn't feel as cheap. I have the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighter in Blossom Glow, which is like I think the only one that would actually match me, because I think the rest would be too dark. Their shade range is not great for these. It is a pink highlight, so they are different colors, and it is the one on this side. If you guys can see, it's right here. I don't know how well you can see it. It's a very beautiful pink highlight, but I feel like this one is much more glittery. If you guys can tell, I mean, it looks really pretty, but it doesn't blend as well into my skin as this side does. Just going by formula, you know, this one is like buttery smooth when you're touching it, but when you put it on your face, like with a brush or anything, it gets kind of glittery. And I really just prefer like the wet look over the glittery look. So for highlighter, I'm just going to have to go with E.l.f. The next thing that I have is eyeshadow. Now, I had to buy this E.l.f. palette. I didn't already have this. I made sure to use all of the products at least a few times before making this video because I wanted to really know how I felt about them. But I had to buy this palette because I thought it matched the best with the Wet n Wild palette I have. I only have one Wet n Wild palette. E.l.f. Rose Gold Sunset palette, and it is so beautiful. I've wanted this for a while, so I'm really glad that I got it. I'm putting it up against the most iconic Wet n Wild palette, which is the Comfort Zone palette. Now, just for starters, I'm going to go with packaging on E.l.f. because the packaging is definitely cheap on E.l.f., but it's not like this cheap. Like Wet n Wild's packaging just feels and looks so cheap and sad, and I know the packaging shouldn't matter, but I mean, when you see something on a shelf, you're probably going to notice it because of the colors or the packaging. You're probably not going to notice it because of the formula, because you don't know what the formula is yet. So packaging here matters. There is quite a price difference on these eyeshadow palettes. I'm fully aware of that. And I only used one shade from this palette and two from this palette because the shades aren't like the closest match, but there were similar shades. So from the E.l.f. one, I used this pink one right here and this, like, I don't know, purpley color. So these are the shades I used from the E.l.f. palette. And then for the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone, I used this purple down here, this one down here. I just thought that these two looked good, and I just used that pink to blend it out on my E.l.f. side. So going into this video, I really thought that Wet n Wild would win the whole eyeshadow competition thing because their eyeshadows are really, really good. Their shimmers are beautiful. Like, I just want you guys to know, I mean, the shimmers are so pretty. Recently, E.l.f.'s really stepped up their game, and their shimmers are also very pretty. Though I didn't use any shimmers on my eyes just because my eyes would look super different if I did. After using the formulas, I realized that this one actually went a little bit patchy on my eye, and I couldn't believe it, but right around here, it went a little patchy. It's the same eyeshadow brush that I always use and I love. And I have been using this palette so much since I got it. I've been using that same pink shade and that other shade so much. I love this palette. It's honestly amazing. I'm so shocked by this palette because eyeshadows was something I didn't think the E.l.f. quite had figured out yet. Well, Wet n Wild had, but since using this palette and then using them against each other, I'm completely changing my mind on that. I love the way this eye just... I love the way it blends. I've been using this palette on my eyes almost every single day for like the past week. So for eyeshadow, I'm just gonna have to say that E.l.f. really stepped up their game and has made it. I mean, this eyeshadow palette is awesome, and I feel like everyone needs it in their collection because it's just beautiful, like natural, earthy tones. And I know everyone loves Comfort Zone, but I've only used this palette like 3 times the entire time I've had it, and I've had it way longer than this, and I've already used this one more. So for eyeshadow, E.l.f., you get it. I can't even believe that I bought a new eyeliner for this because I have been using the E.l.f. Expert Liquid Liner forever. Absolutely forever. I have loved this one so much. But I decided to get the Wet n Wild Mega Liner for this video because I wanted to test it out. Now, if we're going to talk packaging, they're the exact same thing. This one's a little taller. This one's a little like heavier feeling, but this one's almost used up. So, exact same packaging. Nothing really to say about that. This is the first eyeliner I ever used. It has a little tiny point on here is actual like bristles, like a paintbrush, like a tiny, tiny little paintbrush. So it is very flexible. And that's what I really like about it. I feel like I have so much control over this because I feel like it's so easy to just get all around the shape of my eye because it's so flexible. And I hate felt tips. Okay, I hate them. This, I thought, it doesn't say felt tip anywhere on the packaging or anything. I really, really thought that I had found a Wet n Wild one that wasn't a felt tip. I was wrong. This is indeed a felt tip. It doesn't really look any different. And the tip of it is very flexible, but like halfway through, if you guys can see that, like halfway through, it's hard to move. And that's how I knew it was a felt tip, but the bottom is still very flexible. This is a very matte eyeliner. I thought that the E.l.f. one was very matte until I used this one. This one almost has a little bit of a shine left on it, especially like on your lid if you have too much. This one has a little bit of a shine, while this one is completely matte. So, today, applying both of these side by side, I don't know. I don't want to say that the Wet n Wild one was better, but I'm not gonna lie, the Wet n Wild side looks better. I feel like my wings, like if you guys look, I feel like this wing looks so much better than this one. And I mean, maybe that's just how I applied it today, but I really like the way my wings, this is growing on me. I've been only doing my makeup for like, I don't know, maybe like close to 6 years, maybe 5 or 6 years, and I've been using this eyeliner that entire time. I almost think that I'm gonna start using this one more and see if I really do like it. I think for the sake that I have been using this eyeliner my entire time doing makeup, I think I'm gonna have to give it to E.l.f. because I have used previous Wet n Wild eyeliners. I've used 2 different ones, actually. And I tried another one from Wet n Wild, and then I tried a waterproof one from Wet n Wild, and that one hurt me. That one literally, like, tore off my skin on my eyes, and my eyes used to bleed. Like, my eyelids literally used to bleed because of how horribly, like, dry and chapped they were from an old Wet n Wild one. It's that H2O proof one. That one is the one that did it to me. Okay, that was a terrible eyeliner, not gonna lie. Not saying this one is. This one is really good. It has not done that to me. I think I'm gonna give this to E.l.f. because so far it's the only one I've tried from E.l.f. and I've had 2 other fails with Wet n Wild, so 2 to 1, you know, a good one out of 3, and I'm gonna give it to E.l.f. So there you have it. E.l.f. with the foundation, highlighter, eyeliner, eyeshadow has won 4-2, with Wet n Wild winning the blush and bronzer and almost winning the eyeliner. I really can't say that I'm surprised because I absolutely love E.l.f, but I also love Wet n Wild, so I thought this would be a fun video to do. Let me know if you guys agree with my decision on which brand is more worth the money. I mean, they're both very, very affordable, and all of these products are good, other than the Wet n Wild foundation. I think that is all I have for you guys today. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and if you want me to do more like drugstore versus drugstore, or even high-end versus drugstore or something, because I would love to do it again. This has been really fun. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel down below. I post videos every Saturday, and I will see you guys next Saturday. Bye!